What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing, back at you again. Today's topic: win or lose in the Joshua rematch. Oleksandr Usyk has proven without a doubt that he is the real deal. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, petty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life before riches, huh? That life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glazy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fans, let's talk some boxing. But before we get started, I'd like you to take a look at this video clip. So here we go. Let's roll.
Just looking back on that last night, what was your honest assessment of Joshua's performance?
I thought Usyk should win by TKO in the last round. I thought they gave Joshua way too much time. Yeah, he just sagged on the rope and just stood there and didn't do anything. I thought that Usyk deserved a TKO victory. I was surprised with the fact when I picked Joshua to win in 7 rounds because I thought it would enforce his size and pressure and sheer bulk and athleticism and punch power, but he didn't. He was just reserved and very, I don't know, he was like, yeah, he was sensitive. He was a bit like, I want to punch, I'm not going to punch. I want to move my head, I'm not going to move my head. It's weird, man. Weird. I don't know. It was weird. It was like the whole Underwood's performance over again. That's a weird absent. Like his mind is a bit absent. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Did Oleksandr Usyk fight exactly how you thought he would fight?
No, he fought a lot more aggressive because Joshua allowed him to be. Joshua kept on stinging him and wasn't following up. And every time he stung him, Usyk got stood in front of him, got stung and stood in front of him and started throwing hands. And Joshua just let him do it. It was like, can't you see you've hurt him? You hurt him with the right hook, you hurt him with a straight right hand. What are you doing? Joshua would hurt him and just back up. I didn't get it. I'm still a bit baffled, to be honest. The whole thing, it was a bizarre performance from Anthony Joshua, but Usyk performed good.
Okay, there you go. That was a perfect assessment by Dillian White. I basically thought the same thing, while the fight was going on. What was going on with Joshua? He seemed strange in there. Looked like he was in the fight, but not in the fight. As Dillian White said, he looked absent-minded. Basically the same way he looked in the Ruiz fight. When you compare that fight, the Ruiz fight to this fight, Joshua seemed basically the same mentally. Like he wasn't really there. You know, Nothing like what we saw in the fight with Vladimir Klitschko. We saw him knock out Klitschko in the 11th round in that fight. Now, my thinking is that if that Joshua was the one fighting Usyk, that fight wouldn't have lasted 5 rounds. Okay? But we didn't see that Joshua. We saw some other type of Joshua. I'm not sure what that Joshua is or who that Joshua is or where that Joshua came from, but it was definitely weird and strange, as Dillian White just said. Really, really strange. So, we don't know what's going on with Joshua, but one thing is clear, okay, and that is that Oleksandr Usyk, based on the way he performed in this fight, is definitely, without any doubt, the real deal. Now, previously, I criticized Usyk, for his lack of aggressiveness in his fight, with Chisora. And to tell you the truth, I didn't really expect this type of Usyk to show up in the Joshua fight. I thought we was going to see the same guy that we saw in the Chisora fight. But as Usyk proved, you can reinvent yourself if you, really, put in the work and the dedication. And in just a couple of months, almost a year now, Usyk has, changed his style of fighting. Well, not necessarily style, but he became more aggressive. Okay, in this fight, the way he should have been in the Usyk fight. Okay, that's the way he should have been in the. In the Chisora fight. But the truth be known, Chisora, and I'm gonna shock a lot of people by saying this, and I'm shocking myself by saying it. The truth be known, Chisora put on a better performance than Anthony Joshua did. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I know it's shocking, but I mean, we have to look at it, for what it is, and definitely, Chisora was going out and trying to take Usyk's head off, but Joshua wasn't doing that. Joshua was trying to box with Usyk, it seemed like, and Joshua was just overreacting, to every feint that Usyk did, and anytime Usyk actually touched Joshua, which he did a lot of times in that fight, Joshua would overreact to the punch. It was weird. Like Dylan White said, it was a weird thing we saw. I mean, it was really weird. Every time Usyk threw a punch and it landed or even grazed Joshua, he would like pull back real hard and fast. Like, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like he was afraid to get touched by Usyk. It definitely was a weird fight. And basically Joshua fought what would look like, to the observer, it looked like he was fighting scared. Like he was scared to go after Usyk. Okay? Like he was, afraid he might get touched. Like the way he kept pulling back every time Usyk would touch him. And every time that he actually hurt Usyk and could have finished him, he didn't go in and do the job. He did hurt Usyk a couple of times and probably could have went in there and finished Usyk if he was the same Joshua we saw in the Vladimir Klitschko fight. He would have finished Usyk. But like Dillian White said, there's something strange going on here. I can't put my finger on it, but we definitely saw a different Joshua in there. And I'm not saying that to take anything away from Usyk, because Usyk put on a pretty good, well, no, let's rephrase that. Not pretty good. He put on an excellent, like almost a master class boxing lesson on how you're supposed to fight a big guy. And I referred to it a little bit in my pre-fight analysis where I spoke about, in order for Usyk to win, he have to go in there and be aggressive. But I didn't expect him to actually go in there and carry out that type of a plan. I knew that's what he needed to do. Okay, and I said that in my pre-fight analysis. But I didn't actually think he was going to go out there and do that, because I didn't see any indication of him, doing that in the Witherspoon, the Chaz Witherspoon fight, or in the Chisora fight. He didn't, he never went out there and became aggressive. So I thought that, he would never do it, with Joshua, and, with Joshua having even more skill than Chisora. But I was shocked and surprised to see that he actually went out there and took the fight to Joshua. It was a great display of boxing by Usyk for sure. All my criticism of Usyk, that I had previously, about him not being tough enough, not being, strong enough, and not being the real deal. I totally, I'm reversing that now. I'm going on the record and saying that I was totally wrong about Usyk. Okay. But again, I based my assessment of Usyk on the Chisora and the Chaz Witherspoon fight. And, if the truth be known, I was a little disappointed in Usyk's performance, because previous to the Chisora fight, I had predicted based on his skills and his boxing acumen that he would, probably stop Chisora. And when the fight actually happened and he didn't even come close to stopping Chisora, Chisora almost stopped him. I was like basically, shocked and, disappointed in his, performance, to say the least. However, in this Joshua fight, Usyk has gone out there and, shown me and many other boxing fans and pundits and, the boxing community at large that, he is the real deal. And, that's what he showed us in that Joshua fight, what you can do when you go in that ring and you know what you're doing. It doesn't make a difference how big the guy is or how strong the guy is. A good boxer should always be able to beat a puncher or a brawler, and 9 times out of 10 I always go with the boxer. But in this case, Joshua is actually a boxer puncher. And, I thought based on the performance, in the Chisora fight that, Usyk wouldn't do what it would take to defeat Joshua. But he actually did. And so you know, we all saw the result. As for Joshua, oh, by the way, before I get into this Joshua thing, you know, in the last fight with Chisora, Usyk gave himself a grade of a 4, I believe, in that fight. You know, in terms of from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest in terms of his performance. He gave himself a 4, and I thought that was a realistic assessment at the time. Okay, and you know, even though I was criticizing him, I did give him credit for being realistic in his assessment. And in this fight with Joshua, I would have to say is, you know, I would give him a 10 in terms of you know, his performance. Okay, or maybe 9 or 10. Okay, I mean, he probably could have stopped Joshua if he had put on some more pressure. You know, but man, that's neither here nor there. But the bottom line is that, yeah, he definitely get a 10 in this, or 9 or a 10. Let's just say a 10, okay? Great performance by Usyk. Now, in terms of Joshua, we have to really consider what's going to be next for Joshua, because, again, there's something going on with Joshua. I'm not sure what it is, but we saw it again in this fight. We don't know if it was because of, you know, the ring acumen of Oleksandr Usyk, while Joshua was fighting so tentatively. And just like Dillian White said, he seemed absent-minded in the ring, like he wasn't even there. But you know, and I noticed that as well. Very timid and tentative. So I don't know what's going on in Anthony Joshua's mind, but something needs to change in that camp. You know, I don't know what if it's his trainer. I don't know what to say. You know, I'm not going to say, well, he needs to get rid of his trainer, which, you know, I don't know if that's a, you know, the problem or not. But there is some problem, and it needs to be straightened out pronto, because the way Joshua looked in that, he looked like an amateur in that fight against Usyk. I mean, it could be that Usyk was, you know, is that good that he made him, you know, he made the fight look easy and make Joshua look like an amateur. But you know, you know, as great as Usyk has shown us that he is in this fight, I am not going to put, you know, Joshua's performance, you know, on Usyk and say Usyk was performing that great, because even though Usyk was performing great, I mean, you know, that doesn't explain what was going on with Joshua. I don't think something is definitely going on with Joshua. Okay, what it is, I have no idea, but you know, we'll see how everything plays out in the end. Now, whether or not Usyk wins this rematch with Joshua, and you know, there's no reason why he shouldn't, based on what we saw in this fight. But again, we're not going to prejudge anything like I did previously by prejudging Usyk and saying that he was going to lose. So we can't really prejudge Joshua and say he's going to lose in the rematch, because we saw what he did in the Andy Ruiz rematch. You know, he rose to the occasion. But, you know, Usyk is definitely a different breed, and so I'm not really sure how this rematch is going to go. If we see anything like we saw in Joshua in this fight, if that's the Joshua that's going to fight Usyk in this rematch, he might as well not even fight. He might as well just, you know, grant Usyk the victory now and just forget about it. Because if he comes in that ring and anything like he did in this fight, and fight anywhere like he did in this fight, you know, it's going to be a foregone conclusion. Okay, you know, at this point, Usyk's confidence is already up now by even beating Joshua and almost knocking him out, as we saw in the last round. And it's going to be a more difficult fight than the first fight for Anthony Joshua, unless he does some, you know, different things in there. Okay. Now that Usyk, you know, has fought Joshua and knows what, you know, that he can, you know, what Joshua is like in there, even though, like I said, this wasn't the, you know, the Joshua that we're used to. He's going to be more confident in the next fight. I'm pretty sure he's more, and you know, more than. I mean, he was pretty confident in his first fight, and his confidence is going to be through the roof in the next fight. So it's going to be a little tougher for Joshua to, you know, to rein him in. So I don't know how this rematch is going to go, but based on what we saw in this fight, in the first fight, you know, it doesn't look too good for Joshua unless some radical changes are made in the way Joshua approached this boxing game. Let me repeat that. Unless we see some radical changes in the way Anthony Joshua approaches the rematch with Usyk, I don't think we're going to see a different decision in the rematch. As a matter of fact, we might even see a knockout of Joshua by Usyk in the rematch. Okay, I'm pretty sure Usyk is thinking if he's going to go to a rematch, he's going to try to knock Joshua out this time around. Okay, and that's to be expected. Okay, now whether or not Anthony Joshua can make necessary adjustments to be able to defeat Usyk in the second fight, and in reality, he should have made the adjustment in the first fight, not wait for the next fight to make adjustments. Okay, that's the sign of a real fighter. Really, that can make adjustments, and Joshua didn't seem to be able to make any adjustments in this fight with Usyk, and he ended up losing the fight. So Joshua needs to really go into his bag and do what he did in the Ruiz fight, come out with something, with a strategy and a plan that can really defeat Usyk in this rematch. We're gonna have to wait and see, how he trains for this fight, this rematch. I'm pretty sure we'll see some clips of him training and what's going on. I don't know if he's gonna get a new trainer. I don't know if that's even, if that should even be considered. I mean, I would consider it myself if I was, in his camp, because, even before this fight, even with, even with the fights that Joshua's won, there's a lot that could be improved with Joshua. Okay. And, as the unified heavyweight champion of the world, which he was previous to the Usyk fight, Joshua should still be working on his craft. I mean, in terms of, almost like he's at the beginning of his career, He's a unified champion, okay? So at this point in his career, Joshua should pretty much have his whole fighting style down and know exactly what he's doing in that ring, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be a lot of confusion going on, okay? And again, I don't know if it lies with Joshua or if it lies with the camp. Now, I will say one thing, that previous to the fight in the ring walk, we saw Joshua coming out and he didn't look really that focused on he was, high-fiving people coming out, hugging old ladies, waving, to the crowd, stopping, soaking in everything, it seemed like to me. And it didn't seem like he was actually focused, okay? For some, it almost seemed like he was going out there to lose. That he know he would, let me rephrase that. It almost seemed that if you watch the ring walk again, it almost seemed that if Joshua went out there knowing that he was going to lose that fight, the way he was acting weird, strange, okay? And so, that's my assessment of, what I saw, okay? And then we all saw what happened in the fight itself, was nowhere close to the Joshua that we were expecting. So again, whether or not we can attribute that to the skills and boxing acumen of the Oleksandr Usyk, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that we can attribute some of it to that. Or if we can attribute all of it to Oleksandr Usyk, I'm not sure about that. I'm pretty sure there's something going on with Joshua as well. But whatever was going on with Joshua, Usyk put on a great performance. And he deserved the title that he just won. Now, how he's going to do against the rest of the heavyweights out there, I don't know, but I am optimistic now. Okay, I don't think that any heavyweight out there, besides Fury and is going to give Oleksandr Usyk any real trouble. Okay. I mean, he might have a few difficulties with some of these guys, but real trouble, no. I think he's the best, based on his performance. But again, we need to see a performance against a Joshua that's actually there. But based on this performance so far that we have seen, Joshua, with the Joshua fight, Usyk would probably beat almost any, not almost, but would probably beat any heavyweight out there, including Tyson Fury. Okay. That's my assessment of Usyk. He's good enough. He's big enough. He's strong enough. He has enough skills to be able to defeat any of the current heavyweights that are fighting right now. And so I would definitely look forward to see a fight between him and Fury or Joshua or Joe Joyce or any there's a lot of heavyweights out there that that we can get some good fights with Usyk, but I guess he'd have to get past the Joshua rematch before we're going to see any of those, and so we'll have to wait and see how it's going to play out. I'm pretty sure by probably by around the summer, we're going to see the rematch. And if Usyk gets past Joshua a second time, then, you know, the whole heavyweight division is at his, would be, available for him to make some, inroads, And so let's see, we're going to have to wait and see, okay, how this is going to play out. But again, disappointing performance by Joshua. Don't know what's going on with him, but he needs to get whatever is going on straightened out pronto. Before this rematch with Usyk, we're going to see the same result as we saw in this fight. With that being said, people, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, okay? Hit the bell icon. Go to TBEBoxing.com. Check out the latest headlines and the latest boxing news and commentary. And like I said, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, okay? And also check out the TBE Boxing podcast, okay? So I'm going to leave it there, people. I'm going to see you on the next.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, On the block with the pole, This is the life that I chose, On the block with the pole, That life before riches, That life before riches, Pretty bitch, show me titties, And I got the glazzy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.